see, there is no point in speculation.
Okay.
Let us read the fine print. Let us read the details, and you know, one can talk about it tomorrow when one reads the fine print.
Okay.
See what my friend KV has to say.
Well, Mr. Parekh, basically, you know, that investment allowance reduction, or rather the extension of that rebate has also been announced. As well, you have, you know, that a kind of a pump priming by increasing infrastructure investment by the public sector. Hopefully private investment will come in. Do you think there is enough for the capex cycle to be rekindled?
I think it's a very good beginning. It's an excellent beginning. And, you know, you can't say 100% tax deduction or 100% investment allowance. You have to stop somewhere. And this is an incentive. This is a carrot. This is a hint to the Indian entrepreneurs that, you know, start working on infrastructure. The banks will look at it differently now because it doesn't attract SLR, CRR. The bank should look at it differently. So your sources of funding increases significantly, and you know, your approvals will come faster. Your environment approval, forest approval for power plants. So I think as KV has said, we need the ministries are working in tandem. So we need to see what the different ministries do. I think it's an excellent beginning, and it will give fillip to manufacturing. We have to wait for the next few months to see this transform.
Mr. Kamath, I think Mr. Parekh wanted us to ask you the same question. Do you think the forbearance that we've got on SLR and CRR for infrastructure loans would be with retrospective effect, or is that not the style of governments?
And would it include housing, sir?
I don't know. We can't peep into the minister's mind.
No, it cannot be retrospective.
We will get to know of it in due course.
Okay. Well, the markets at this point in time doing exceptionally well, you will have to say. Remember, they fell about 250, 300 points when that retroactive tax changes did not come in the first paragraph of the finance minister's speech. Now up about 450. So this is a 700-point recovery in the markets. Mr. Kamath, you know, the FII income now will clearly be treated as capital gains, not as income, and so no 30% income tax on them. They get only long-term capital gains. Does this keep the markets well hydrated? You may have spoken to a lot of FIIs in your time. Is this going to be very, very positive from a foreign investor point of view? After all, they are the big marginal investors.
I think it will be positive, and you know, ultimately what makes it positive is how well we are doing as a nation. And if we all believe that we have a government here now which is listening, which is ticking all the boxes, and is setting a target of 7 to 8% growth, and hopefully it will be pegged higher next year. I think that is what investors are looking at, and I'm sure we will have a very positive reaction to what we have seen today.
Mr. Kamath, Mr. Parekh, Pawan Goenka and Nirmal Jain are also with us. I just wanted to ask Pawan Goenka his first reactions on the budget. Not really anything for the automobile industry, but overall, your comments, Mr. Goenka?
Well, I was not expecting anything specific for the auto industry in this budget, because what we're looking for in terms of continuing excise duty reduction had already happened. There were some small things that we were hoping for, such as electric vehicle incentive, which didn't happen, but in overall scheme of things, that's not a very major thing in terms of national budget. And therefore, the budget has been kind of what I had expected personally. No big bang announcement, which I didn't think will happen in a six-week period. Clearly defining focus on infrastructure, clearly defining focus on investment for the future. Rural focus continues. Manufacturing focus isn't talked about. So no specifics, no big bangs, but the direction of the government has been clearly defined. And that's what I like about this budget, that the finance minister has not gone overboard, not tried to do things which really cannot be thought through in 6 weeks, and put a lot of placeholders in terms of announcing lots of 100 crore schemes, which I call placeholders because 100 crores are not sufficient for any of those things. And I think he's going to try out those schemes and see what works, what doesn't work, and then decide which one of these schemes need to be fully supported.
Those investment allowance extensions will help, Mr. Goenka. You'll have a lot of ancillary companies. You'll deal with a lot of ancillary companies. Is there enough in that allowance rebate to make smaller industries and bigger ones, after even the threshold has been reduced from 100 crore to 25 crore, enough to make them invest?
Yeah, it certainly will help. I won't say it's a big bang thing that will suddenly make all the difference. But again, what I was looking for in this budget was the intent, and the intent has been very clear that we are going to support investment. The 25 crore, 100 crore limit was not good for SME industry, not enough for SMEs. And with 25 crore, I think it comes down to a level where everybody can benefit from it and basically start a virtuous cycle of investment. These are all the moves in the right direction, and I think that's the reason the initial reaction of the markets being poor, because maybe they were looking for big bang announcements, and slowly it sort of settled in. That the budget in some many sense is prudent, the numbers are believable, that's very important, the numbers are believable, and the math seems to be working out.
I am a little unsure about the believability of that 19.7% tax rate growth assumption or tax revenue growth assumption. It's a bit tall, but that's why I was asking you if people will invest more and if people will make more money.
Yeah, let's ask Mr. Kamath that. Mr. Kamath, how believable are the numbers? Because he has stuck almost with the tax. We had the Votlakons talking about a 21% increase in tax revenue. He's brought it down to 19%. Is that possible in the current circumstances?
Obviously, they have done their arithmetic. So I would like to believe that there is a cost control element which we do not know about, which we will have to see. And there will be a disinvestment number, which again has probably not been articulated.
No, sir, disinvestment number has been articulated.
The two together,
yeah, Mr.
I think the number should then work out.
No, disinvestment number has been articulated. About 63,000 crores is what he's expecting. It's not a huge rise over the vote on account number, but only tax revenues, not including non-tax revenues. The assumption is 19.7, which looks a little of a scare at a time when real growth has been put at between 5 and 5.5%. Mr. Parekh, final comments from you, sir. Do you think that the way in which the markets have reacted and the fact that FII investments are now given that kind of peace of mind that you will be taxed as capital gains, not as income, is all this going to keep the equity part of the piece well hydrated, and that could solve actually a lot of balance sheets which are too debt ridden? Do you think overall this is going to be positive for the financial markets?
No, I think it is positive, and somewhere along the line when he said that banks will first bring down, their government will bring down their equity in banks to 51%, he talked about domestic issues, he talked about follow-on offers to Indian public, and so they obviously want to also get more domestic players and get domestic investors in the Indian capital market. We don't want our capital market to be dominated entirely by the FIIs. We need domestic investors. And I think we need to do something to get domestic investment and mutual funds back into the market, into the equity market. So I think it's an excellent beginning, and you must, and even on the numbers, he's not changed the numbers, and I agree that they look a little optimistic. The first 3 months growth in indirect revenue is only 8%, and even the direct income tax and corporate tax growth is about 12 to 13% if you see the first quarter's number or the first 2 months number. So to achieve a 19% overall growth in your taxation is unlikely, but as KV has said, they may do some cost control, and hopefully the aspirational and the growth numbers will increase over the last 2 quarters, may be much better than the first 2 quarters, so there will be higher collections.
Mr. Parekh,
certainly they will collect much more in gutka and pan masala.
Mr. Parekh, thank you so much for joining us.